Well, good morning, you beautiful people. We're just out here doing a training ride as I get ready for my August 9th pedal off rally from Tinker Air Force Base, where I'll be riding 500 plus miles throughout the 14 counties of District 4. And the route, for those of you who are interested in coming out and riding any of it with me, rallying with me, whatever the case may be, on August 9th, there's a rally that's this coming Sunday at 9 a.m. at Charles B. Hall Air Park, which is basically at the Visitor Center of Tinker Air Force Base. And we'll be riding, I believe that's 29th Avenue, whatever that east-west road is just north, and we'll be taking that west for about a half mile until we hit Sooner Road, where we'll divert south. And we're gonna ride down Sooner Road for, I don't remember off the top of my head, it's like 15.8 miles or something in that ballpark. And we'll ride Sooner Road all the way to Main Street in Norman. And then we'll take that to the right, west. And we will be able to finish at 300 West Gray, and I'll be pedaling into 300 West Gray at 11:30 a.m. on Sunday, where we will be having a rally right there in the parking lot, and that will go until 1:30. At 1:30, I'll continue south, and I'll be riding through Noble, etc., on down to Lexington. Excuse me, thank you. And so if you're interested in joining, I'll be riding into Lexington at 3 p.m. and we'll just do a brief little rally right there at Charlie McCown Park, which is 200 East Broadway in Lexington, Oklahoma. And then we'll just transition across the bridge over to the Purcell Library, where I'm hosting a town hall at 4 p.m. that evening. I'm really looking forward to it. And at 5, the library wants us out, so we'll conclude the town hall and we will call it an evening. And then I'll be at the Brahms on the south side of Purcell. I do not remember the address, but I'll be at the Brahms on Monday, August 10th from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. And I would love to meet anyone who wants to come have a coffee and hang out. Good morning. And from there, I'll be riding south, and I'll be headed to Paul's Valley, where I have a meet and greet from noon to 1 p.m. So you can come out on your lunch hour, say hello. Well, that's cool. That helicopter is really low. But I'll have a meet and greet that Monday afternoon, and at 1 p.m. I'll continue on my ride, and I will head from Paul's Valley to Ada, which is to the east. For those who aren't familiar, it's in Pontotoc County, and I will be hosting a town hall in Ada on Monday, August 10th from 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then that will conclude day 2. Day 3, I'll be meeting, I'll be from 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. for coffee at the Cougar Cafe in Ada. And so if you live in the Ada area and you want to come have some coffee or something like that, come on, let me meet you. And from there, I'll be riding initially to Sulphur, and I have a meet and greet on your left, on your left, on your left. I have a meet and greet in Sulphur at 2 p.m. To 3 p.m. at El Jimador Mexican Grill and Cantina, I believe is the technical name. And from there, I'll be headed west once again over to Davis. And at 4:30, I believe to 6:30 at the Davis Public Library, I'll be doing a meet and greet and would love to see any of my Murray County friends, anyone who lives in the Davis-Sulphur area who would like to come out, have your questions answered, have your concerns addressed. Since only one candidate in this race cares enough to do any of this, I would love to be able to shake your hand and hear all about you and what you're interested in. And from there, the next day, which should be, Wednesday, August 12th, I'll be riding from Davis down to Ardmore, and I'm pretty excited. I've always wanted to go to Arbuckle Fried Pies, so one of the things I'm most looking forward to on this journey is Arbuckle Fried Pies on Wednesday morning. I'm gonna have a coffee and, I don't know, coconut cream, cherry pie. Sounds amazing. But yeah, I'll be over in that Turner Falls area and then continue on down to Ardmore. We're still finalizing, so stand by for the details on the event in Ardmore. Just waiting on final approvals and things like that. And then on Thursday, August 13th, you can come find me at Main Street Coffee in Ardmore. I'll be there from 7 to 8:30. Would love, again, if you live in the Ardmore area, if you're Carter County, and you want to come have a coffee with me, well, I'd love to have a coffee with you. So come check it out. Let me say hello to you. Let me see you off to work. And then I'm going to continue on to Love County. I'll be riding to Marietta, where we are. I am going to have an event, again, final stages of approvals. So more details to follow here shortly. Just take a look at Facebook and social media so that you can stay up to date with all of the venues as they are finalized. And then from there, on Friday, the 14th, I'll be riding a 60-mile stretch onto Waurika. And that will be a long day, and the day will end in Duncan, where I will be at Kokendorfer, I hope I pronounced that correctly, Brewing Company on Friday night, August 14th in Duncan. And if you live in the Duncan area, then come out and let me say hello to you. Let me buy you a beer. Let's have some wings. And I think it'll be really, really, really wonderful. And we have an application in for a morning event on Saturday, August 15th in Duncan. So for all my Stevens County friends, stand by, and I'll have the details of where I'll be doing a long meet and greet on Saturday morning in Duncan. And from there, around 1:30, maybe 1, I haven't finalized that particular aspect of it, but I'll be moving on from Duncan, riding to Walters, and then riding on to the Tillman County line. My escort vehicle that day is my lovely wife and my incredible children. So, because that will be a Saturday, they're going to actually take me home, and I'll be able to clean my bike, clean the chain, make sure everything's good, restock any essentials, etc. And then on Sunday, I'll be getting a rest day and going to church with my family and doing all of those important things, mowing the grass, the things that one must do. And so then you can find me on Monday, which is the 17th at 7 a.m. down in Frederick at Williams Donuts, which I understand was called Don's Donuts. But I believe that's at like 301 East Main or something very similar to that. So if you live in Tillman County, if you live in Frederick, then come on out on Monday morning, August 17th, and let's have a coffee and a donut together. Would love to hear all about how inflation is affecting you, how the war in Iran is affecting fertilizer prices on your farm, how you feel about what's happening in your country right now, whether that's good or bad. I'm not here to limit you in what you can discuss with me. I'm just trying to represent you. And in order to do that, I have to be in your community. I have to be available to you because, well, then what else and whom else am I representing? And I believe in that very strongly. So come on out Monday, August 17th. Have a coffee with me in Frederick. From there, I'll be riding north and I'll be getting to Lawton. And so again, final approvals, just waiting on the okay to release the venue information for a town hall on Monday, August 17th in Lawton, Oklahoma. From there, I have some good friends in Lawton who are putting together the details, so I will be doing a coffee from 7 to 8:30 in Lawton on Tuesday, August 18th. I just do not have those details for you right now, but again, stay in tune. I promise they're coming. They'll be released, and if you live in Comanche County, Medicine Park, Lawton, Elgin, would love, again, just to meet you, hear what I can do to best represent you, hear how we can make these United States the greatest country in the world. From there on Tuesday, August 18th, I'll be cycling north, and I'll be moving from Comanche County into Grady County, and we'll be getting into Chickasha that evening, where I know that at least one event is being planned, but based upon our last planning meeting, I think there might be two. So just keep an eye out, and there's going to be something that you can come do in Chickasha so that I can meet you, hear more about just how your life is going, how you feel the federal government is supporting you, failing you, what needs to be changed, kept the same, whatever it is that you want to talk about, I'll be there. After that, I believe it's going to be the Starbucks in Chickasha on Wednesday, August 19th morning. But I'm confirming that, and I'll have that for you soon. And from there, I'll be riding north, and I'll be headed first to Blanchard, and I will ride through Blanchard and then end at my home in Newcastle. And because it's a school day, because it's a work day, all of the things, we're just gonna have a small little private ride-in celebration with some friends. My kids are gonna get out of school early that day, and they're gonna ride the last mile with me. You can imagine how excited they are about that. Anyway, but we're gonna ride that last mile together as a family, and then at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday, August 19th, at the Newcastle Public Library, I'll be hosting a town hall and celebration rally to celebrate the completion of a ride, and I would love for you to be there as well. My friends, this race is for us, it's for you. It's to take back our seat, because the person who's taking up the space, he's not going to get out into public. He does not care how his votes and policies are affecting you and your family and your life. And you don't have to take my word for it. Just take a look at when was the last time he hosted a town hall? When was the last time he was out in public and let you know in advance? When is the last time someone had the chance to actually talk to him about what's going on in this country and in our district? So I just believe it's well past time that we take back our seat, that we put someone who feels the crunch of this inflation and this financial position in their lives. For those of you who don't know, when I started campaigning, let's back up for a second. Maybe some of you don't know why I announced for this race, and I'll tell you. And it just takes a little bit of backstory. I have 5 kids. They go to public school. I went to public school. I'm a proud product of and champion for public schools. Back in 2023, my wife and I were sitting at the kitchen table, and we were complaining, as many were at that time, about Ryan Walters. I know, I can hear the boos already. And we realized, so I live in Newcastle, which is McLean County. I live in HD 20, House District 20. We realized that we wanted a representative or someone to stand up against Ryan Walters, to push back against him. And then we looked even further. As you're likely aware, I am a Democrat, and we were unlikely to be able to vote at all in the 2024 election, because the previous 4 cycles, which means for 8 years, only Republicans had run for HD 20, which meant that the election kept being decided in the Republican primary, and that we wouldn't get anyone to vote for, obviously president and a few things like that, but as far as at the local level, it was looking like we were not going to be able to vote for anyone. And I realized at that time I was in law school, and so you can imagine just how much free time I had. So with all that ample free time, I realized that if it was just a candidate problem, then I could solve that. And so I filed for and ran for HD 20 in 2024. I lost that race. I originally filed again, Mitchell Jacob for OK House 2026, and had originally planned to run for HD 20 again this cycle. Well, what most of you may or may not know is that my wife is a naturalized citizen of the United States or Mexico. That happened during our marriage. And I'm very proud of that. It does mean that I have 3 stepsons, though that usually never ever matters because those are my boys and we don't really talk about it. But on his very first day in office, Donald Trump signed an executive order on your left, looking to gut and carve out birthright citizenship, which is a constitutional protection in the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, in which we literally fought a civil war to enshrine in our Constitution. The broad wording implicated the birthright citizenship of my boys, because at the time that they were born, my wife was here temporarily. And as a result, over my dead body, will anyone tell me that my boys are not U.S. citizens? Over my dead body. And so I dissolved that state committee, and I formed this federal committee, Mitchell Jacob for Congress. And I've been campaigning hard since August 16th of 2025. When all of that happened, I worked as a public defender. I worked for the public defender's office full-time for a year, and prior to that, as a licensed intern. Still able to practice. I did a trial, things like that. But during my last year of law school as well. And I was damn proud of that work. And I kept doing it through the primary. And you can imagine that campaigning full-time for the United States Congress across 14 counties, as well as working full-time and carrying a full caseload as a public defender, for example, in just that year, while I was a candidate, I personally tried 5 jury trials. So you can imagine what a toll that took mentally, emotionally, but that's fine. That's what I signed up for. I actually wasn't worried about any of that. What I didn't expect, or at least wasn't, maybe it was naive to, is perhaps more accurate, is the toll that it would take on my family. Because Monday through Thursday, and typically about 2 Fridays, and pretty much every single weekend, I was campaigning. I was getting home very, very regularly at 10:30 p.m. Many nights, most nights, basically. And, well, I was leaving as my kids were waking up in the morning, and then getting home well after they were in bed. Not to mention that left my wife to do everything in the house. It also had an unintended side effect of getting home at 10:30 every night. I was not healthy. That was messing up my eating schedule. Anyway, I've gotten off track. So, when I secured the primary, I put in my resignation, and I gave the public defender's office a 5-week notice because, well, that's hard work and important work, and I knew that in good conscience I could not just leave. And so I put in a 5-week notice, and my last day was, I don't have a calendar in front of me, but I believe that it was Friday, July 18th. And since then, I'm not a rich man by any means. I had a little bit of savings, and so I've just transferred a vast swath of the savings that I've accumulated in my lifetime, and that is what we are living off of right now. And it will get us through November, but I don't really know what life is going to look like on November 4th. But that's okay, because I'm all in for Oklahoma. I'm all in for District 4. I'm all in for taking this seat back from someone who doesn't care about the people that he's supposed to be representing. When you dig in and look at my opponent's finances, it becomes very clear. Only like 3% of the funds that he raises come from individual people. The vast majority of the 3 point whatever million dollars that he has raised this cycle comes from political action committees and special interests. One of his largest single contributors, or perhaps the largest contributor, is the American Israel Political Action Committee, meaning that he cares more about Israel than he does about Oklahoma. And that simply cannot stand. And so I have a pledge for you. I take no PAC money. That is a double-edged sword, because there are PACs that I personally believe are aligned with my values. For example, labor PACs, AFL-CIO, those types of things. But a pledge to not take any PAC money means no. And so this is a purely grassroots campaign, and I am only accepting contributions from individuals, and over 90% comes from individuals right here in Oklahoma. And just so you're aware, that divergence, if you will, that 10%, I've served in the Army. I've lived in, I don't know, a bunch of states. I have built connections all over this country, and I called them when I started running. And so that's where those out-of-state funds come from, is just friends, personal connections that I've built over the years. But outside of that, this campaign has only had a single maxed out contribution. And outside of that, it's just individual people, just good old Americans who are fed up and tired of what's happening right now and who want change. And on that note, I wanted to tell you something that I'm very proud of. So today is August 5th, which means that I'm 11 days away from 1 year of this congressional campaign. In that time, I have driven over 25,000 miles across this district. I have hosted lunches and coffees and things like that. And I have met with many people. I've had many events. Well, one thing I'm really proud of that I want to share with you is that in all that time, because I pledged to be a good steward of every dollar that comes into this campaign, I have not billed the campaign or anyone's contribution for a single coffee, for a single tank of gas, for any of the extraneous items that come with campaigning. And again, like I said, I'm not a wealthy man, but I have taken on each and every one of those expenses personally, so that every dollar that pours into this campaign, that is invested into this campaign, is invested into taking back our seat. And that is a pledge that I make to you, is to be a good steward of your money, and to ensure that if you join me on this journey and you invest in Mitchell Jacob for Congress and taking back our seat on November 3rd, then your funds, they don't go to me. They don't even go to you per se. They go to hiring the staff, to buying the walk cards, to, if we have enough money, advertisements in October to reach more voters. And on that note, I want to share something that I am really proud of. We have knocked somewhere in the ballpark of 9,500 doors. We have placed 45,000 phone calls in this election. We have sent 132,000 text messages to 88,000 unique recipients. And we're just getting started, because we now have 12 weeks and 6 days until the election. And I'm all in. I am working hard. When I get back from this, let's say it this way. Last night, Tuesday, August 4th, we relaunched the phone bank, and we'll be hosting a phone bank at headquarters at 300 West Gray. from 4 to 7 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday, and from 1 to 3 on Saturdays. And if you are interested in doing that with us, you can actually, once you come and learn how it works, we can set you up an account, and you could join us from 4 to 7 on Tuesday and Thursday and 1 to 3 on Saturdays from the comfort of your own home. You just need a laptop and a headset, and you'll be able to join in with the phone calls, and we can get, I would love to have 30, 40, 50 people making these calls regularly while I go out into the community and meet as many people as I can, because this is a group effort. I can't do this alone, and neither can you, but together we can accomplish a lot. And I don't sit still well, my friends, so I finished my ride on Wednesday, August 19th, and then that next week, starting on Thursday, August 27th, I'm launching a Thursday town hall tour, and the very first one will be at 6:30 p.m. in Lawton. Venue details coming soon, and every single Thursday after that, you can find me at a town hall. I don't remember the order, but I remember the locations that I picked. I'll be hosting a town hall in Sulphur, Norman, Frederick, Lawton, Ardmore, Chickasha. Yeah, forgive me, there are a lot of places. Ada. And so I'm just going to be out meeting as many people as are willing to come out and visit with me. And I hope that's you. What I really am trying to avoid is taking back our seat, but nobody came to a town hall, and so I'm left to guess what it is that you need. Because I do a ton of research. If you know anything about me, I do a ton of research. I care very much about all of this. But your lived experience is the only thing that can tell me what you need. No amount of research will lead me to those right conclusions. And so really this is just an open invitation to come, whether you're Republican, Independent, Libertarian, or Democrat. I believe that the role of a representative is to represent every single person in their district, not just their party, and certainly not just their donors. And the good news there is the donors that, once again, of this campaign are individual people from right here, primarily within the great state of Oklahoma, and almost exclusively, predominantly, from within CD4. So the interests are aligned. Represent the people, and that's it. And to that end, I'm just trying to learn more about you. Learn more about what you care about, what you want to see better, different, stay the same, changed, fixed, tweaked, altered. And the only way that can happen is if you come out and tell me, because one thing that I think we forget sometimes is that democracy is not a spectator sport. I might be campaigning hard, but just saying, good for him, or good luck, or I hope you win, or I hope you can do it. If I'm just being blunt, those don't help. Good lucks do not win elections. Knocking doors wins elections. Writing checks wins elections. And that's a simple truth. And if you are like me and you don't have the funds, that's fine. It's free for you to come knock a door. And I'm only asking that you knock 20 per week, which is, if you want to break it down by averages, 3 per day. That's it. I'm not asking for much. And with only 12 weeks left to go, that means that we only have 12 weeks and 6 days means from today, there are only 13 Saturdays. And so if you were to take that pledge, it's only 260 doors. That's it. And if everyone would do that, we would dominate this election. So again, kicking off my cycling tour, and after that, I believe I'm going to start regularly doing these cycling thoughts and posting videos of me riding through here. On my tour, I will have the camera going as well, and it will be connected by a microphone then as well, and I'll be talking about different issues during different legs of that. Sorry, what was I saying? I will be posting videos from my ride, that's what I'm trying to say, and I will be talking about different issues from Medicare for all to taxation, how I feel about public education, all those issues I plan to address during my ride, and take the time to be able to share my thoughts with you, and then start posting those videos when I get back so that you can basically join me on my journey and see where I actually rode and hear my thoughts on those topics. And I just think it'll be a unique way for you to join me on what will otherwise be a very lonely journey, because I do not I do not expect people to want to come and ride 500 miles with me, especially not in August. I recognize the absurdity of that request on its face, and so I'm looking forward to just leading the way on that and allowing you to join from your computer, your phone, your laptop, your feed, whatever that may be, when I get back as I start releasing these videos. And I just hope that you will see that if you vote Mitchell Jacob for Congress on November 3rd, you're getting a dedicated, hardworking representative. You're going to get someone who does the research, understands the nuances. You're going to get an attorney who will have an understanding of how the legislation that I vote on will impact you, how it's all connected. Because I think we need more of that. I think that we need not only representatives who, oh man, I don't know. My net worth, for what it's worth, and this is all driven by my 401k, so I want to clarify that. If you get rid of my 401k, my net worth is negative. My net worth is negative. But with my 401k, I don't know, 150,000, something like that. Anyway, my point there being that I live paycheck to paycheck, especially when this election is over, because I won't have any savings anymore, but I live paycheck to paycheck just like you. I feel the same pains that you do. My kids go to public school. We are struggling with grocery prices right now. Oh, my wife and I just had a whole conversation last night about changes that we're going to have to make or have already made, such as it may be, because grocery prices are getting out of control, and we don't have the ability to just absorb the increasing costs, and we have fixed budget for groceries, so we're figuring out what we're going to do, how we're going to facilitate that and accommodate these prices. Blessedly, so I bought a car. My wife and I both wound up buying a car back in 2017, so 9 years ago. So our daily commuters are paid off, and that is such a blessing. We used a chunk of savings when I was in law school. I wasn't working then either, but I was getting a VA education benefit. Anyway, we bought a car, and we do have one $250 payment on my wife's primary vehicle, but one of the reasons we're doing so well is time. We bought those cars, my daily vehicle, we bought, it's a Subaru, we bought it with 37 miles back in September of 2017, and here we are. We'll have owned that for, I guess, 9 years next month, here in a few weeks, and so it's been paid off, and we don't have to worry about that, just the insurance, just the maintenance, etc. So we've been able to get into a good financial position, and it's such a blessing right now as I watch the bank account. But there's a lot going on in this world. There's a lot going on in this world. It's on fire, literally. Spokane, France. I know that there's another one that I'm blanking on right now. We've got we've got a lot going on in this world. And one thing that gets me every single day is the corruption. We have a president taking bribes and jets from foreign countries, somehow making $2 billion in 1 year in office on a salary of $400,000. Crypto scams. I mean, you name it. It's out of control. And we have a Congress that doesn't have the stomach, who's too weak and cowardly, including my opponent, to vote against this unconstitutional war in Iran, to vote to investigate the corruption. We need to ban trading individual equities or stocks for elected officials, because it is a huge ethical issue and a huge violation of trust to trade in the securities and companies that you oversee. And I'm definitely looking at you, Mark Wayne Mullen, among others. Do not get me wrong, but it must be illegal to trade individual equities while in office. Now, on that note, I want to say this. I want my elected officials to be aligned with the greater economy. I want their interests and the interests of the many, which in this case is really referring to your 401ks. That's the best way to ensure that the financial incentives align for the people in power and the people. So I don't want our members of Congress to be able to, for example, buy Ford while they're on an oversight committee that oversees Ford or Boeing or whatever the case may be. But I do want them to be able to invest their money in a way that makes them want the economy to grow generally. And one way that I think we can do that is by eliminating their ability to buy individual stocks so that they can't pick the winners before announcements, etc. But then to allow them to purchase EFTs or mutual funds, basically index traded funds like S&P 500, Russell 2000, NASDAQ, whatever it's called, I forgot off the top of my head, and allow them to buy into the greater economy so that as they're making decisions, then their decisions are not so that their individual favorite stock will go up, but rather their wealth will be tied to how well the greater economy is doing. And I think that would be a spectacular solution to the rampant and rife corruption that we're dealing with right now. And I want to say this too. People ask me about blind trust. I don't even know what you're referring to when you say that. So I doubt that that solves the problem. But what I do believe is, so if you didn't know this, in 2014, I studied on my own and passed and earned the stockbroker's exam, and I became a registered a Series 763, a stockbroker for a number of years. Well, I learned a lot about the stock market. During my time in the Army, I didn't make a lot of money, but I put everything I could into the stock market and then continued to trade that while I was in law school, and even today. And so what I'm trying to say is I don't believe that if you win an election that you should be forced to sell everything that you own. But my point in this legislation that we're discussing right now is that if you sell it, so let's say I own 100 shares of Widget Inc. and I take office, I don't think that I should be forced to sell it. But if I do sell it while I'm in office, then I believe that I should not be able to buy more individual equities with that money. And that if I want to invest in something different, then that investment should be an index fund, S&P 500 fund, something to that effect. And that way we can prevent an issue where I just have concerns about forcing people to liquidate simply because they won an election. I mean, we know that there are quite a few House seats, for example, where on their second election, they are voted out of office. And so forcing someone who is only going to sit in office for 2 years to sell is a problem, because if that investment has gone up in value over time, then you're forcing them to take a tax hit on those funds arbitrarily, even though I don't see any particular reason for having to do so, and then forcing them to not be able to buy back in until they're out of office. Whereas we could just let them sit with those assets and avoid triggering tax liability or anything like that. And if when they step down, when they are voted out, whatever the case may be, because no one will be in office forever, then they can continue trading to their heart's content when they're no longer in a position to pick winners and losers. So I believe that there's some nuance there, and we should not allow sitting members to buy those equities. But again, I just want to stress that I don't agree with forcing them to sell right from the outset. But I also care about what your thoughts are. What do you want to see with respect to financial disclosures, ethics, finances, all that good stuff? There are a lot of ways you can reach out. Morning. Campaign cell phone is 405-407-6975. Campaign email is info at mitchelljacob.com. Headquarters is at 300 West Gray, Gray Street, Norman, Oklahoma. And I'm available. I'm here. I will, like I said, be hosting a town hall in a city near you here very soon. And I would love to take your questions and go through everything that I can with you. Well, if you've tuned in this far, I appreciate you. And I hope that means, well, I guess let's talk about this for a second. There are a few ways to get involved. Because again, I could use your help. Door knocking, 20 doors per week. There's only 13 Saturdays, 13 weekends left, which means I'm asking you to knock 20 doors per week over that 13, just under 13 weeks we have left. You can come phone bank with me, 4 to 7, Tuesday and Thursday, 1 to 3 on Saturday.